Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for yet another video. Of course, it's your girl Erin. As you can tell, we are in the office again today. I just love the lighting in here. I'm also trying something new here with the mic and the arm stand. And hopefully you guys can tell by my outfit today, it is officially spring. Spring has sprung. The weather is starting to warm up a little bit. It's also getting a little bit more humid outside every day. But honestly, I will take that over the snowy conditions of winter. This is one of my favorite little lightweight projects that I made almost 2 years ago, but this is the very simple raglan cardigan. I made this using mohair and also my fingering weight fiber, double-stranded, and she's so gorgeous. She's got a little bit of a breezy flow to her, which I really love. So I've been so excited to jump back into filming. The last few days, my stomach has actually been pretty gnarly. And even as I sat down to start filming this, it kind of felt topsy-turvy, but you know what, we're just going to film through the pain because this is something that I've been looking forward to filming for a few weeks now. I'm going to be teaming up with Hobbii, the lovely Hobbii yarns, to go over some really fun and exciting spring and summer crochet project ideas. Now, this is a style of video that I have done in the past where essentially I'll put together a really huge list of 20 or 30 different patterns. Sometimes that can be kind of overwhelming, so I thought today we would slow it down, we'd pull it back, and I would simplify it to 3 or 4 different trends that are going on at the moment, and then a few different patterns for each trend that kind of goes along with it. And hopefully this can kind of help to give you guys a little bit more inspiration, help to motivate you through the change in the seasons. And I thought it would also be useful to go over a few different of my yarn recommendations for each of the projects, just to give you guys a better feel for what is going to play best with that project. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into some of my favorite spring inspired makes. Now for my first pattern recommendation, y'all know I had to do it. I have to recommend one of my own patterns. This is the penny polo. As you can tell, she has a lot of drape and a lot of flow to her. I love this project just because it's so versatile, but also because she's unisex. Now, a lot of times, as you guys know, I like to share clothing with my partner, Jordan. So I'm always looking to kind of make silhouettes that are going to look good, not only on a more masculine body, but also on someone who's a little bit more feminine. She's actually pretty boxy. The construction is so simple, but something else that I really love about this pattern is that if you look really closely, I actually use some type of cluster shell stitch. So it almost gives off a lacy silhouette, a little lacy vibe, but overall, again, from a distance, very casual. Even the backside on this thing is gorgeous. And I feel like adding that element is also going to give it a little bit more breathability. So a little bit more airflow, when the breeze comes by. Now, the wonderful yarn that helps me to achieve this gorgeous drape is actually the Friends Wheel. Now, what I love about the Friends Wheel, first and foremost, is that it's technically a number 2 fine weight fiber. So it's a pretty lightweight thin fiber, but again, when you're trying to achieve more of that drapey, flowy, breezy look, I prefer to choose a lighter weight of yarn versus something that's a little bit thicker like a DK or a worsted. Traditionally, the lighter weight yarn, the more flexibility and movement it's going to have. On top of that, the Friends Wheel is also made of 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. So you have a mixed content fiber right here, which is going to give you kind of the best of both worlds. You're going to get the flexibility again of the acrylic, but you're also going to get the lightweightness of the cotton and the breathability. Now, I will leave my original color selection here on screen for those that are interested, but this time around, I decided to pick out 2 new colorways because, believe it or not, I've kind of been thinking about remaking the top, but in a slightly larger version so that Jordan and I can both share it. So to kind of accompany Jordan's taste as well, I decided to pick out colorway 122, which is a little bit of this deeper gunmetal, kind of slate gray. And then I also picked out colorway 58, which is kind of a taupey, purpley color. And overall, I thought the 2 really complemented each other. And this time around, I also decided to aim for a little bit more of a contrast in colors. Hopefully, overall, it's going to give a very different look compared to the first version that I have. And if you guys are interested in checking out the penny polo and making it for yourself, I will leave a link up here somewhere and also down below in the description. Now for my second project idea for spring and summer, I have to touch on this. I think we all know exactly where I'm going with this. Everybody and their mama has been hooked on this, and that has to be filet crochet. I know I'm not the first to bring this up. I'm sure there are so many videos on YouTube right now about filet crochet, but I kind of just wanted to take a second to highlight a few of my favorite projects that I've seen kind of bouncing around on social media. And ironically, about this time last year, I was starting to plan out a filet crochet project. I filmed like half of the video. I got like a quarter way through the project, and then I just gave up on it. I just stopped. It probably would have turned out really cute. Maybe I should like continue with that, finish that. This first one is the Flora Bloom skirt by Hobbii Studio. My apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I'm sure you guys have seen this one. It's probably one of the biggest ones, and I've seen a lot of people kind of remake this skirt. I think it's so gorgeous. I think this would also be really cute, kind of layered over pants. Is that weird to say? Like, wearing skirts over jeans has kind of been a thing. I haven't attempted it myself, but I think with the right skirt and the right look, it could be really cute. But the highlight stand-up pattern that I really wanted to shout out here is the Blossom Robe Dress by Carolyn Edel, also known as Tarta Studio. Now, believe it or not, this pattern is a free download on Hobbii. You guys can go check it out right now. Download the pattern for free and start making your own filet crochet project today. This dress looks so intense, so gorgeous. There was so much work and math that went into it. And I also really like that they have multiple sizes. So they have extra small all the way to extra large. But as I was kind of scrolling through and checking out what yarn they used, believe it or not, they actually used the Hobbii Friends cotton silk yarn. This has got to be top 3 favorite yarns that Hobbii has ever released. I love the feel of it. I love the texture. It feels so creamy, buttery smooth. And as the name suggests, it does have silk in it. So this yarn is made with 77% cotton and 23% silk. It feels so luxurious. I feel like a lot of people haven't had the chance to crochet or knit with a silk-based fiber. And this is kind of like your opportunity. They have it at a really great price right now. And personally, I've had this yarn stocked up because I never want to run out of it. Specifically this like ivory creamy shade. I'm also really impressed with the color range that Hobbii provides in this line of fiber. They have a really nice mixture between some lighter pastel shades as well as some like softer muted colors. Oh, and I almost forgot, I have one last project recommendation when it comes to the filet crochet. So if you guys have been like really interested in this trend, but you don't necessarily want to make a wearable or a garment, I did find this pattern over on Etsy. This is the Cherries Market Bag by, it says designed by Jennifer Olivares. Again, my apologies, but I thought this would be a really great alternative again for those that are really highly interested in the filet crochet and you want to find a way to still add it into your outfits, but you don't necessarily want to make a maxi skirt or a maxi dress. It's a cute little market bag. You can throw your groceries in there, you can throw your crochet projects, take it out to the park, crochet all day, and you can still show off the filet. So yeah, I thought it's a really darling piece, and honestly it looks to be a beginner friendly project. Those are my filet crochet recommendations. Whenever the weather starts to warm up, I feel really drawn to projects that have a lot of movement in them. Now, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I've been kind of hooked on this idea of like layering clothing, but more specifically, I've had this really big vision of kind of creating a pattern that emulates like a long line cardigan. Now, I did kind of do my due diligence and go over onto Etsy to find you guys a few different options because let's be real, if I'm gonna try to make a tutorial or a pattern, it's gonna take me a pretty minute to put it out. So in the meantime, I found 2 like long line cardigans, but they're also like dusters that I thought would be so gorgeous and so well paired for this spring. Now, the first one that I found is the Truffle Threads cardigan by Moda Vesa Shop. Now, this one is a little bit more intricate. Again, it's kind of giving like filet crochet, not quite, but you guys kind of see like the design going on there. So I love that it's like a lacy type of stitch. It's very open, very, very breathable. Even though this garment is huge and it's long, it's not necessarily going to make you hot by any means or like weigh you down, just because there's so much airflow going into that thing. Now I like also that this one is a long sleeve. The vision that I have in mind for my style, I don't think it's going to have sleeves on it, but I thought something with a sleeve option, something that can kind of, I know we're kind of jumping the gun here, but something that you can kind of wear as it transitions from summer into fall. A piece like this would be like a staple in the wardrobe. Now the second option, which is a little bit closer to what I kind of have in mind, this is the, my apologies because I don't see a specific pattern name for this, but this is technically made by the designer Life and Yarn Designs on Etsy. Now I love that this is a sleeveless option. Again, it's kind of giving straight up cardigan, but just extended. And it also has a little bit of like that lacy stitch. Now in the description, they mentioned that they use an easy pineapple crochet stitch, which again, I like having a little bit of that texture, a little bit of that design, so that it's not just super basic. And usually when it comes to making projects like this, again, we don't want to use anything that's too thick or too heavy, because that's just going to add to our body warmth. It's going to make us a little bit sweaty. So I decided to pick out a new fiber, and the yarn I think that would pair best with a longline cardigan like this one is the Friends Cotton 8/8. Now initially I thought I had picked out the 8/6, which is the like number 2 sport weight, but lo and behold, I have the Cotton 8/8, which is technically like a number 3 DK. Every time I go onto Hobbie's website, I've noticed that the number 1 best-selling fiber is the Friends 8/4, the 8/6, and the 8/8. And honestly, I feel like the proof is in the pudding. So many people have used it, so many people have loved it. So I felt like I couldn't go wrong using their 100% cotton fiber. I don't know what kind of good juju Hobbii is putting into their cotton yarns, but it's unlike anything that I've ever really felt at other big box stores. If my eyes were closed, I wouldn't know that it's a straight up 100% cotton fiber. It just feels so good, kind of creamy, slightly buttery, but it's super soft on the skin. And best part of all, the Friends cotton yarn is always super affordably priced, especially if you guys buy it in bulk. So I decided to pick up, I think I have like 20 of these bad boys, and each little skein of yarn here, you're gonna get 50 grams or 82 yards per skein. As I was mentioning, a fiber like this is gonna play out or work really well into a longline cardigan, just because it's gonna be very lightweight, very breathable, very airy. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? I also really like cotton yarns during spring and summer because they're highly durable. So no matter how many times you guys wear it, and no matter how many times you have to wash it, it's going to hold up over time. And for my last and final crochet project recommendation for these spring and summer months, I present to you ponchos. Now there's thousands of ponchos out there, and honestly, I could show you guys like 20 of them that I love, but I thought I would just simplify it to one because of this one I've seen around for so long. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to making it myself yet, but it's screaming boho, it's screaming chic, kind of like Coachella Festival. So this is the boho crochet poncho designed by Sonia on Etsy. Pretty sure I've mentioned this poncho in a separate project video. There's the right amount of mesh, but there's also these really chunky, gorgeous, like 3D flowers. And I feel like it just elevates it so much. It takes something that's very basic and simple and gives it some pops of character. So again, with like the layering, this type of project, you can chuck on over anything. So whether you have just a bra on, throw the poncho on. If you got a tank top on, even like a long sleeve during fall, the poncho just adds this extra element of like whimsical. It's giving me whimsical vibes. So to go along with the poncho, I ended up picking out 2 different lines of fiber that I think would both play really gorgeously. So the first one that I picked out is the Dahlia line. It is a 100% cotton fiber, and I'm pretty sure this is a number 2 fine weight. Now, as I kind of look at it up close, it's giving me like number 1 sock weight. Like it's very, very thin. With this cake, you also get 874 yards per cake. And I love that with this line, you see this really subtle but gradual like ombre shift you're kind of getting like that color gradient swap as you crochet with it. Now the second option that I picked out for the ponchos is something that I'm also kind of leaning a little bit more towards, and this is the Hobbii twister. This is another like gradient yarn. As you can see, it starts off very like icy blue in the center, and then as you work your way out, it turns to like navy blue. But the twister line is also labeled a number 2 fine weight. The twister is also 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. Yeah, you're getting the lightweight fiber, you're getting something that's very breathable. As it is, the poncho, similar to the filet crochet, is already very open and meshy and airy. And the twister cakes also come with 1,093 yards per cake. So you're getting a ton of yardage. That's some serious hankage there. Now I will say that I do have a crochet poncho tutorial here on YouTube, and that was essentially constructed with 2 very basic like rectangular panels. But I kind of have this idea of doing another poncho tutorial or like poncho pattern, but I want to give it like a raglan twist. Again, starting from the top, I'll have like a very icy blue, and then as I work my way all the way to the bottom, it's going to change colors to the darker blue. And then I thought it would also be really fun to add on some fringe to the poncho as well, just to give it even more movement. It's also going to make it a little bit more dramatic. So every time you move or shift, the fringe is also going to like flow with the wind, and I really love that idea for spring and summer. And that is going to be a wrap on my crochet project recommendations. I hope that the start of your spring has been going so lovely. Make sure to go outside, get some fresh air, touch the grass, feel the sun on your skin. This long winter has made me appreciate warm weather so much more. I'm never going to take it for granted again. Speaking of, I'm actually going to take the girl on a walk right now because we need some fresh air. Yeah, excited to craft again, excited to get back to it, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. Bye.